rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 2451. Today, we're going to be talking with the CEO of a company that has created something very, very unique and near and dear to my heart. So be prepared to be inspired.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. Today, I'm in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. And since it's the new year, you know what's coming up in a few weeks. Oh, all the car auctions, so hold on to your wallet.
Yeah.
But I'm with a very special guest by the name of Wachs. David, welcome to Cars Yeah. Do you have any gear, and are you ready to release the clutch?
I am ready. This is awesome. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Well, this is cool. We're going to have some fun. I want you, though, before we start and we get into the reason that brought us together, which is kind of a unique thing when it comes to the car world, what's one little thing that maybe people don't know about you, David?
Well, I am not as hardcore a car guy as the rest of you, but I did go to Cordon Bleu and I studied cooking, which is random.
Really?
But yeah, like my first car was an 88 Oldsmobile, that sexy beast. I don't have any great an Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know I'm dropping pants right now, but yeah, it was a good ride.
Well, a little bit Radwood-ish, so you could fit right in at a Radwood gathering of cars, I think. So, yeah, we'll call you a car guy. So I think that's pretty cool.
That's very generous.
Well, and while we're at it, we'll have a really fine meal that you can cook. So I think that would be even more special. So good. Well, let me give you a proper introduction here. David Wachs is the CEO of Handwrytten. That's Handwrytten. Now, most of you are going, what is that? Wait a minute. That reminds me of something. That's right. We had somebody from Handwrytten on the show earlier in 2023. It's a company where they've brought back the lost art of letter writing through scalable, robot-based solutions that write your personal notes in pen. Developed as a platform, Handwrytten provides you a way to send notes from your CRM system, including Salesforce, the website, apps, or through custom integration. Prior to this, David founded Cellit, a leading player in the mobile marketing space, inventing the concept of mobile customers' relationship management. We have an entrepreneur on deck here today. They delivered millions of SMS and MMS messages to consumers daily. David is a frequent speaker on marketing technology platforms and has presented for the Direct Marketing Association, South by Southwest, Advertising Research Foundation, and the National Restaurant Association. There's the tie back to the Cordon Bleu. Both Handwrytten and Cellit were on the Inc. magazine's Inc. 500 list of fastest growing companies. I told you this was going to be a unique show. We'll be back in just a moment, but first a word from our sponsor, so give them a little love. Buckle up. We'll be right back. Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? Then let me introduce you to Capitalize Your Finances. It's an online course designed to empower you with the knowledge and tools for mastering your money. This course will help you lay out the ins and outs of budgeting, the importance of emergency funds, investing strategies, and how to plan for a secure retirement. All this presented by financial planner Chris Paniotu. Chris has developed this course to help you effectively navigate your world of finance with confidence. Stop stressing about money and start taking control. Enroll in Capitalize Your Finance online course today and pave your way to financial success. To learn more, go to capitalizepodcast.com/courses, or better yet, go to the Cars Yeah website, show notes page for today's show, and click on the link under Capitalize Your Finances. You'll be glad you did. Do it today. For several years now, you've heard me talk about Linkage Magazine. I've been a subscriber since the start. Their talented and creative team brings you a spectacular publication and website that shares the automotive passion from a worldwide perspective. Linkage is about driving, restoring, collecting, and first-hand experience at collector car auctions and more. They bring you real-world values plus rational, experienced opinions on the current markets. They cover the automotive world and the people who share our passions. And Linkage Magazine has grown, mailing you 6 issues annually. Join me on this journey with Linkage. They're geared for the automotive life. You can subscribe at linkagemag.com. Years ago, when it was time to renew my collector car insurance policy, my carrier's rates went up. Way up, but my usage was the same and I never made a claim. I didn't even have a ticket. So what's with that? So I turned to American Collectors Insurance. Has your collector car insurance recently raised your rates for no good reason? Tired of paying an annual membership fee? Then it's time to look around and call American Collectors Insurance. I shopped around, I asked friends for recommendations, and found a winner that I can trust. And boy, I'm glad I did. I saved hundreds of dollars every year and slept better at night knowing my baby was properly insured. American Collectors Insurance have been protecting vehicles since 1976. They provided me with an agreed value insurance policy backed by their history of taking great care of their clients. What could be better than that? So give them a call and ask for a quote today. 866-ACI-YEAH. That's 866-224-9324. And protect the ones you love like I did with American Collectors Insurance. Classic car insurance designed by collectors for collectors. So, David, we're into the new year, and I'm very excited to have you here because what you've created is a way to get very personal, but in a new world, robotic way, handwritten. So could you describe to our listeners how this concept came to be? What is it for? So that all those out there scratching their heads going, Mark, what is this show all about today? So take the keys, my friend.
Yeah. And for your hardcore motorheads, first of all, apologies. I hope.
No apologies. I like having you here, and I'm going to explain why in a little bit.
Yeah. So what we do, and basically the whole idea was I was running a company that did text messaging. And every year I'd go to Walgreens and I'd buy my mother a card and I'd want to mail it. And I'd go back to my apartment and I'd write it out. And then I'd be like, oh, darn, I don't have a stamp. Or, oh, darn, I screwed up the card. I got to do it again. And I'd never get around to doing it. And I realized sending handwritten notes really matters. I'd go back to the office where we're doing all these text messages.
Yeah.
And I'd see everybody with handwritten notes on display on their office. So anytime somebody got a handwritten card, it would not only be open and read, but it would be put on display. And I thought, after I get rid of this this text messaging company, I should really do something with handwritten notes. So that's how Handwrytten started. We use robots to write out handwritten notes. We have 175 robots. We do about 20,000 notes a day on behalf of car dealerships, luxury brands, car manufacturers, so some of the largest car OEMs. We basically help them automate sending handwritten notes because what happens is when you get all these texts and emails and Slacks and tweets and everything else, you may or may not open them, but when you get a handwritten note, you absolutely open it.
Yeah.
So we try to help our brands reach out via the old-fashioned handwritten notes because we know it has a special place in people's hearts. And really, the most unused inbox is the one at the end of their driveway. So we help drive, we help them reach out.
Well, I'll tell you why this is so special to me, and my regular listeners know this, and anyone who's ever been a guest on the show knows this, and you will find out, David, after we're done, when you walk out to your mailbox. I send handwritten notes all the time. All my guests get a handwritten note on a card that actually is custom made. I use a company called Moo. I use my photographs and it's my watermark on the back. But this is something I learned from my mom, and this is appropriate given we just had Christmas. My mom was so big on handwritten notes that she would make my sister and I write our thank you notes before the end of Christmas Day. And I was doing that the Christmas night for all my gifts. It's just something that I do, and it's come back to me tenfold in so many ways. So you are spot on. So tell me how this integrates from the use. Let's say I'm a car dealer and have all these car salesmen.
Yeah.
How does it work exactly?
Yeah, so we are the only company of our type that integrates directly with major DMSs. And the DMS is a dealer management system. So CDK, Reynolds and Reynolds, those types of things. So with CDK, we integrate directly. With many others, we integrate through a company called Authenticom, which is kind of like an aggregator that allows all these DMSs to communicate with us. But what we can do is once you sell a car or have a service appointment or whatever, we can then automatically send a handwritten note. So what it does is it raises CSI and customer satisfaction index. So if you're a dealership and you get co-op marketing dollars, so you get money from Mitsubishi or Infiniti or Toyota or whomever to your marketing, and that's predicated on improving your CSI, we help you with your CSI, which therefore drives those marketing dollars from corporate. So we're really able to help you with your co-op marketing dollars while improving customer satisfaction, while improving your repurchase rate with your customers and improving customer loyalty and improving how often they come into your service center. That's what Handwrytten does. And what we found is we get a 27 times response rate of handwritten notes compared to print notes for service appointments and sales appointments according to our clients.
Wow.
We also get about a 5 times greater ROI compared to print. So this stuff really does work. Is it expensive? Yeah, it's definitely more expensive than print, because the very first thing we do is we help our dealers print a nice piece of cardstock, but then we got to write on it. Then we got to stuff it in an envelope.
Right.
Then we got to, stuff and, stamp it and all the rest. So it's a more expensive thing, but in the end, the dealership gets a higher ROI, and that's what we're really after. But in the end, what Handwrytten's all about is improving customer vendor interaction. We're all about helping our dealers interact better with our clients, and it's really proven to work time over time over time. So we're really happy with what we're able to do for these dealers.
Well, it's amazing statistics you just quoted there, and this is what's been lost with how all this technology, what it's done. And I tell young people that I help and I mentor, when they're having trouble reaching somebody, I say, have you ever called them on the phone?
Yeah.
And they well, no, I wouldn't do that. Well, why not? That was the old days for me. That's how you talk to people. So I was thinking of you, David, because on Christmas Day, one of the gifts I got, and this is kind of a funny thing, but car guys and gals will understand. There's a really wonderful company called Ikigai Cases, Ikigai. They make these incredibly cool vitamin pill cases that you take when you travel. And we've all seen the crummy little plastic ones that come open when your luggage and your pills or vitamins are everywhere. These are billet aluminum made. The way the top's open feels like a piece of a car. And in that box, the boxes come in a box like Apple computer boxes, was a handwritten note. And I thought, I got to ask David, do you do this for other kinds of companies? Because it was a handwritten note addressed to me. Dear Mark, thank you for trying our Ikigai cases. We really appreciate you, blah, blah, blah. And I went, I can't believe they're actually handwriting.
Yeah.
Do you do this, or can this integrate into other kinds of businesses?
Absolutely. So we integrate with a lot of luxury brands and e-commerce brands.
Perfect.
And,
okay.
Basically the thing is as our world becomes more AI and more automated, the value of a handwritten note is more and more valuable, because people believe a handwritten note can't be automated, even though it can, and they put more credence in it. And, every email I receive nowadays, I assume is automated. Even if it's from you, Mark, and it says, thanks for being on my show. I'm like, well, maybe he just set up a Zapier automation to send me this email. But if you send me a handwritten note, I just naturally assume you took the time to write it. And what a handwritten note really is, it signifies an investment in time to sit down and write that note. Because if you write a handwritten note, if you get interrupted, you got to start over. If you're, you know what I mean? Like, you can't just, a handwritten note has to be fluid. And if you get interrupted, it ruins the fluidity and you got to start over. So there's a very unique space in our hearts and on our, for handwritten notes. And that's what we try to help people with, and the fact that we automate it, back in the day. You can imagine writing into the CEO of IBM when IBM was a thing, and then getting a handwritten note back from the CEO of IBM. Well, do you think Louis Gerstner really sat down to write you a handwritten note? No, of course not. He had his secretary do it. But so the fact that we're using robots instead of secretaries, does that make any difference? We're still helping do something different than send you a printed note. And people understand that. And it still resonates with them, and you still see these outsized returns on sending handwritten notes. And we're working with a number of dealers nationwide to help them with both their post-sale and post-RO, post-service appointment, to really drive repeat visits. And it's truly working here. We see automotive as an amazing opportunity to really help companies be more one-to-one. Be more personal and really, stand out as having that one-to-one relationship here.
Well, it works. I'll tell you a quick example. I sent a note to a gentleman who works at Porsche, and I ended up, it's like 3 years later, I went to the Porsche Experience Center in Atlanta, got to do the Porsche Experience Center. And I walked into the gentleman's office who I'd interacted with 3 years before, and up on his tack board was my thank you note that I had sent him.
That's what I'm talking about.
And I said, did you just put that up here because I was coming? He goes, no, it's been up there ever since the day you mailed it to me. Nobody does that anymore.
Yeah, and here's an example outside of car dealerships, but hopefully it helps.
Yeah.
So we work with a piano tuner based out of Pittsburgh. The piano tuner only needs to be in your house once a year. After tuning your piano, it's tuned for a full year. There's no reason for him to come back to you. But what he's done is he set up an automation where after tuning your piano, you automatically get a handwritten note from him through our company. And then a year later, when he returns to your house, imagine his surprise.
And there it is.
When he shows up at your house and there it is, sitting on your piano, the most prized possession in your house, a year later in the most fancy room of your house. And that's what handwritten notes do. You can't buy you couldn't buy a billboard in the living room or the dining room of your client's house.
Right.
Buying real estate you cannot buy. This is and it's strictly because in my old world I'd send text messages and emails. No email is going to get printed out. No text message is going to get printed out and put on the piano. But a handwritten note will certainly get put on the piano. And this is where handwritten notes are very unique. And, the experience you're seeing is part and parcel with what we see with clients day after day after day.
Has a lot of power. What inspired you to create this company?
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, prior to this, I was doing text messages. And I sold that company to a company out of Detroit. And I was just thinking about the fact that everybody gets so many emails and so many texts and everything else. And I thought, I was really part of the noise. What could I do to help people stand out? And getting back to sending a birthday card to my mother, I wanted to automate that. I really wanted to send a birthday card, but I'd get so distracted or run out of stamps or whatever else. So I thought there had to be a way to automate it. So I thought, what if I created a company that made it as easy or easier to send handwritten notes than send emails? And pretty much the day after I sold or I finished up with Cellit, I started Handwrytten. And the whole idea was to make sending handwritten notes easier than sending emails.
Yeah.
And that's where we are today. We run 175 robots that we build and manage. And we send 20,000 handwritten notes a day on behalf of clients ranging from car dealerships to nonprofits to OEMs, and the rest. And it all started out of that belief that, when everybody's pivoting digital, if you pivot analog, you can really stand out. And we've been doing this for 9 years now. I
think it's really cool. What was your biggest challenge? Was it creating the robots themselves?
Yeah. Okay. So when we started with an off-the-shelf auto pen, which is kind of like a crude robot that can write out handwritten notes. And as we grew that auto pen system, we outgrew it and we outgrew the company that backed it because we'd need more and more auto pens, and they'd say, well, we can't sell you them, or it's going to take a few weeks to give you them, or the quality is not as good as what you need, or whatever. So we went down this path of building our own, and it took us years, probably 2 years plus. But now we're on iteration number 4 or 5, and we build these robots internally out of laser printed and 3D printed parts. Now the issue isn't so much the writing, it's the QA and ensuring the correct note goes in the correct envelope. Because as we're doing 20,000 a day, the problem changes. You know what I mean? Yeah. So now we've got these crazy computer vision systems that we've built internally to handle the matching of the card in the envelope and the QA. So as we've grown, it's the problems have changed, but it's fun as I'm an engineer. It's a fun, exercise to figure out how to solve these different problems as they appear.
Well, next time I come visit my grandkids over there in Arizona, I want to come see this place.
Please.
Yeah.
Please. We're in Tempe, out by IKEA. Mm-hmm. So we're on the I-10, kind of on the west side of the I-10 there.
There we go. We'll do that. So since we are cars, I want to talk a little bit about special vehicles. Is there a vehicle in your past or current or future that is special for you?
Well, I got to say, and I'm going to get a lot of boos from this, but I've turned into an EV guy, and my wife's Rivian R1S is just incredible. Mm-hmm. They're the first company that I've seen outside of Tesla that's really kind of normalized the EV, and her truck is just the nicest thing to drive and the most natural to drive, and it's just, I absolutely love the R1S. I think it's a tremendous truck.
Yeah, next door neighbor's son has got one of those, and pretty special vehicle. And we got nothing against EVs here. I mean, there's unfortunately the politics has crept into it, like it destroys so many things. But there's so many unique things happening with electric vehicles in the future. And you and I had a nice little chat before we started the show about the Porsche Taycan. I have a feeling that might be next on your fun to drive list. So we'll see where we go.
Yeah, whether it's a Taycan or a Lucid or it's really amazing when you get into as I was saying before the show, Mark. And again, I'm going to create a lot of haters here, but once you drive an EV, it's kind of like going LCD monitor versus CRT, the old school. Yeah. And you're just like, why would I do the other one? You get instant torque. The torque is just amazing.
It's pretty incredible.
Just never going to a gas station and getting your hand all gunked up on the fuel handle. Yeah. I got to say is a really nice plus. When you go on a road trip, it does suck. I'm not going to lie, especially in the Rivian. I mean, you stop 2-3 times on your way from Phoenix to California or LA or whatever. Sure. But every other day, on your daily commute, you wake up in the morning to a full tank of gas, basically, and it's awesome. I mean, I could never see myself going back. I mean, I see myself with a gas car for shiggles, just to goof around and have fun with. But as a daily driver, I just can't imagine going back to an ICE car. I just can't.
You've bit the bullet. There you go.
Yeah. Once you've had the Kool-Aid, you're in.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like Apple products for me. I understand. So I'm going to crawl in your head a little bit and be a car psychologist. If you were a vehicle, if you were actually manifest, reincarnated, pun intended, what would you be and why?
Well, I'd have to be electric. I would say a Rivian, because everybody wants an SUV. So being what the public wants and filling that demand while solving the issues of environmental improvement, whether, and I know your audience will debate that. They'll say, oh no, EVs are not environmental, and they can go make that argument. But I think the Rivian R1, whether it's an R1T, the truck, or the R1S, the SUV, I think that's what America wants. America wants big big cars and trucks. So I think really the Rivian has hit the nail on the head there. And at the same time, the performance there, and at the same time, debatably, the environmental impact is there as well.
Well, you just drive around these days, and it's trucks and SUVs everywhere.
Yep.
Crossovers. That's kind of it. I've always loved and wanted a station wagon, and maybe it's because when I was a kid, my parents had 2 Oldsmobile Vista Cruisers, and we had the
Oldsmobile Color Supreme.
There you go.
That was our with the 8-track with the Neil Diamond demo 8-track in it.
Now you're not old enough for an 8-track, are you? Oh, come on.
Oh, sure. I'm 46. I got that.
46.
But
you're just a puppy.
Yeah, but it had the 8-track, and one of the tracks was Neil Diamond, and then the other one was Toto Africa.
Oh my gosh.
I'm right there with you.
I love it. Very cool. Yeah, I love it. Well, how about a great book? We love books here. Is there a great book you might want to share that people should pick up and read?
Yeah. So The E-Myth by Michael Gerber is kind of my that book kind of changed me. Mm-hmm. These days, Unreasonable Hospitality is another great book. And one of the quotes in that book actually comes from Maya Angelou, and it's people don't remember what you sold them. They remember what you made them, how you made them feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's exactly what Handwrytten does.
You're right.
What my company does is we help you with how you make people feel. And so I think there's a lot to that. But so I was on a podcast of a guy that owns a Chick-fil-A franchise, and he brought up Unreasonable Hospitality, and he said, "Have you read it?" And I said, "No, but I watched this show on Hulu called The Bear."
Oh, yeah.
And on The Bear, one of the characters read Unreasonable Hospitality. And that show, by the way, if you watch season 2, season 1, I got to say, is just a bunch of yelling. Yeah. It's just a bunch of people yelling at each other.
Yeah.
But season 2 is excellent. And, I worked in the restaurant industry in Paris and everything, so I do kind of associate with that. And, hospitality, whether you're a car dealer or a guy that runs a handwritten note company. I mean, hospitality is super important. And the thoughts of that book of, how you make people feel, it really resonates. I mean, we're all in the hospitality industry, whether you like it or not.
Pretty much so. Yeah. Yeah. The Bear is interesting. Jeremy Allen, I believe, the actor that plays Jeremy Allen White, I think that's his name.
I think so.
Plays Carmen. Yeah, that's an interesting show. Yeah, they did a lot of yelling in the first part. It's like, come on.
A lot of yelling in first season. Second season was a little bit more tempered.
Well, and it just shows that, I don't know how anybody can get in the restaurant business. That looks like it's just brutal business. But there you go. So let's go on the ultimate drive before I let you go today, David. I would like to provide you with any car in the world. You can take it anywhere, but here's the key part. You can take anybody with you, including somebody from the past who's no longer with us. So that could be interesting. So what does the ultimate drive look like for you if I'm footing the bill?
Well, I would have to say it's a 62 Corvette.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I believe that was the last year before the Stingray.
Believe so.
And am I right there?
I believe so. Yep.
I believe 63, the Stingray look came around, and 62 was kind of the old school vet. And then, as far as who I'd go with, my oldest son, who's 7 years old, who's wise beyond his years, would probably love a drive in that. So I'd say with my son Mason in a 62 vet, and I think we'd have a great time, especially if it was a convertible.
Now, I just had a guest on the show a couple of weeks ago, Dr. Mark, who is selling 3 very, very special Corvettes. He has many Corvettes in his collection. And one of them, I believe, is right in that sweet spot for you. It's going to be at Mecum coming up here. So, I'll send you.
Oh, really? In Arizona?
No, it will be the Mecum Kissimmee, which is in Florida there. Won't be during the auctions coming up in Arizona here, but I'm sure if you head over to Barrett-Jackson or one of the auction houses coming up here in a couple of weeks, how about you could find one over there. So when you do, just let me know. I'll wire some money to them so you and your son can take that drive and have some fun. And that sounds like a pretty nice trip. Do that.
I've got all those funds liquid for a classic car.
Well, I have to tell you, David, do this while your son is that age. When my son was 8, I bought a Beck Spider from John Wilhoit in Long Beach. A Beck Spider is a replica of a Porsche 550 Spider race car. We flew down to Long Beach and drove 1,500 miles back up the Highway 1 with my son, who was 8 at the time. No top, no radio, no heat. Spent 5 days, and he still talks about that. Go rent a car and do it with your son. If you can't do it in an old Corvette today, that time is priceless. And for a guy who has kids now that are adults and having their own kids, this time flies by, my friend. So just go do
brother. It's just crazy.
Go do it. Go do it. Yeah. You'll thank me later. Could you leave us with some parting words of wisdom or advice today, David? Maybe something that launches everybody in a positive way into this new year.
Yeah, I'd say, so my company is Handwrytten with a Y, Handwry, but I'd say Handwrytten with an I. You just send a Handwrytten with an I, just send handwritten notes. You'll see the benefit right off the bat. And then if you get to a point where you can't keep doing it, then use a company like us. But the most valuable thing you can do, there's all these stats on appreciation and sending, notes of thanks. It's true. I mean, if you send notes of thanks and you thank people for being clients, being friends, whatever, it comes back to you. I just got a text message from a friend from college. He sent me a photo of a handwritten note that I included with a book that I sent him for graduating college. I couldn't even, I recognized the handwriting. I knew it was mine, but I didn't remember writing it. I didn't remember writing the book. But he remembers all this, 30 years later, 25 years later. Sending a handwritten note has impact.
Yep, it does.
Takes the time, because that's really what it is. It's the investment in time. So please take the time out of our busy schedule, and I know we're all super busy, to, especially this time around the holidays, send a handwritten note to somebody you care about and let them know you appreciate them. I promise you that you'll get a 10x return on that. People will respond to that in outsized ways, and there is a huge difference there. So just do that, take the time to do it, and I promise you'll see return.
I'm a best example of that, I know, because I do it, like I said at the beginning, with all my guests. I've heard it over and over again. I thank my mom for instilling that skill and that tact, and I still hear her over my shoulder, write your notes. So it's come back to me in many, many ways. Listeners, it's Handwrytten, HANDWRYTTEN.com, handwrytten.com. I'll put links to it. Check them out. If you have a business and you want to make an impact, call David, talk to him, Handwrytten. You're going to make a huge difference in their lives and in your business's life. So there you go. David, thank you for being so generous today with your time and expertise and sharing what you do for so many. Until you and I talk again, and I am going to come visit you next time I'm in Arizona, which probably will be in a few weeks. I'll see you down the road.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks so much.
Great fun. 20, 50, or 100 years from now, will there be a workforce to care for the collector vehicles we love? With auto shop programs disappearing across the country, it's a question we enthusiasts have to ask. That's why I support the RPM Foundation, which exists to ensure that the critical skills necessary to preserve and restore these vehicles aren't lost to time. One of the many ways RPM, which is short for Restoration, Preservation, and Mentorship, is accomplishing this goal is through workforce development initiatives. The RPM apprenticeship program enables the next generation of artisans to earn a living while they learn the craft of restoring and preserving these vehicles directly from industry professionals. The Endangered Skills Program documents the process of masters training future craftspeople on a variety of critical skills in danger of being lost forever. For more information on how the RPM Foundation is driving the future of the collector vehicle skills trade, visit RPM Foundation today. They're one of the charities of choice here on Cars Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.